Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling, and this pod is AEW specific. So it is me and Fisher, as Fisher's been doing it solo for the past 3 weeks or something.
Finally good to have interaction.
It's been a while since anyone else other than Fisher spoke about AEW from the Recharge crew, so it's good to have two of us on. And just before we start, if you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, as we have loads of content on there, and it encourages us to keep producing these videos.
Yeah, and watch our WWE pod that we've just done as well.
Yes, WWE pod. Again, going forward, we will separate WWE and AEW pods so you can listen and watch what you want. So, yeah, that will be the way going forwards. But let's get into AEW this week. And we start with Rampage. Last Friday.
Yeah, it seems ages ago now.
It does. Again, I'm trying to remember what happened. It's so long ago.
A lot of the stuff as well kind of followed up on Dynamite, and Dynamite felt bigger. So there's not too much to discuss.
No, there isn't. I mean, one thing to discuss from Rampage was the return of Sting.
Yeah, that was the big talking point.
The big talking point. Darby Allin and Bobby Fish had their main event match.
Yeah, it was a solid match. Darby was doing his normal sort of crazy moves.
Yeah,
coffin drop to the outside and things like that. It was a decent match, wasn't it?
Solid match. But yeah, we had Sting come down, and then they had destroyed Bobby Fish, and they put his ankle inside the steel chair.
Yeah, then that was,
and then coffin drop onto the steel chair.
That was a brutal
a way to kind of write Bobby Fish off TV for a little while.
But yeah, Sting got a giant reaction, as you'd expect when he came back.
Yeah, it
has
been a while, hasn't it, since we've seen Sting? I remember the last time I saw him on TV, actually.
I think it might have been it wasn't the pay-per-view, it was before that. It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's just a justified pop.
Yeah, and it is Sting, he is a legitimate wrestling legend. And obviously we're getting a big match between sort of two sides of the faction at the pay-per-view, with New Japan guys involved obviously as well, which we'll get to when we talk about Dynamite, I guess. Yeah,
definitely. We got a TBS Championship match on Rampage.
Yeah, we seem to get them quite often.
Jade Cargill against Willow Nightingale. I mean, it's one of those. It was a fine match, but
I like what I've seen of Willow. I think she's quite good.
Yeah, she is. I mean, is she actually on the roster, or is she just someone they bring in for these matches?
Well, I think she is, because she's appeared quite a bit now. I've not seen the All Elite graphic on Twitter that Tony Khan normally puts up if they've signed, but I think she might be more used on the Ring of Honor side. She had a Ring of Honor match, didn't she? Title match with Mercedes Martinez, I think it was. They mentioned that on the last Ring of Honor show. So I think maybe they'll be using her there more often than on Dynamite or on AEW, but we'll see. But yeah, there's the predictable beatdown and angle afterwards. And there was a cool bit where Chris Statlander hit Stokely Hathaway in the head. That bit was funny. But yeah, that was just a solid match.
Yeah, it's just a routine defense, another.
Yeah, she's just building up these wins until something bigger comes along, which is fine.
Yeah, we also opened with Moxley and Dante Martin, which is a good match.
This is really good. Dante Martin just has bangers on TV that he normally ends up losing against top stars.
But he tends to fight guys way higher up the card than him.
Yeah, that's kind of his role. Obviously his brother's injured again, so he's not in the tag team. If
Moxley's going to be the next AEW champion, then you can't really have him not beat Dante Martin. And again, I actually don't mind them doing this. This is one thing AEW do quite well. I quite like them showcasing talent like this. Yeah, looking really good against a top star, not winning.
There's one actually where I'll have a little bit of a criticism of it when we'll get to Dynamite, but generally when it's someone on their roster like Dante Martin, then I like it. Sometimes when it's someone who's irrelevant and you're never going to see them again and they just don't happen being squashed, the bigger story is something else. That's when sometimes they do it they go too much.
I know exactly what you mean.
The Mox ended up winning by submission here, so that was interesting as well. He doesn't often do that.
That is one thing Blackpool Combat Club have done Moxley's probably not done it so much, but they do like to submit people, don't they? And just KO people. But yeah, I think, I mean, yeah,
We also
good
got,
match, good match.
Gun Club and Max Caster against Bear Country and Leon Ruff, who obviously is former NXT North American champion. Do you remember that?
Who have their own name, Ruff, in it.
Yeah, that was weird.
They've got their own name. Like,
they come up with these names, didn't they? Because when the Sting Derby faction come up, they called them. What do they call them? Dudes with attitudes or something.
Yeah,
I was like, really? Okay, that's just a random name. They just like to do that, I think. But yeah, that match was just very, very quick. Not a lot to it. And that was about it. And then we also got a cool segment with Hookhausen. Always worth mentioning them. And Hook will face someone from the New Japan Dojo this week on Rampage.
Yeah.
Hook is the Rampage show, isn't it? It's
Hook and Jade Cargill. Mainly.
Yeah, they always seem to, and Keith Lee and Swerve are always on them as well. I noticed they were on here. They did a little promo here, but these lot always seem to be on Rampage rather than Dynamite, which is fine. But I'd like to see them in bigger feud. Well, not Jade, because Jade's been built like champion, but I'd like to see Hook at this point do something a little bit bigger.
They are very slow burners on AEW. They really like to play things out and slow, and we'll get to that when we get to, well, I'm probably ready to move on to Dynamite now, but they do that.
Let's talk about Dynamite then, because that's the main thing really from this week. It's the main show, isn't it? More recent show as well.
I guess we maybe just go through it bit by bit. We had Bryan Danielson come out, which, I mean, this is different. They don't often start a show with a promo. They usually start with a match, AEW. So this felt a bit different. And Danielson, I mean, it was like kind of advertised as him discussing Forbidden Door and Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
So his announcement was
a match. He's not going to be in either match.
He's in neither, which is interesting to not be in either. I mean, obviously he's injured, so
kind of knew that already as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This wasn't a surprise announcement.
No, but what the key thing about the announcement was what's going to happen on Sunday, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So he said the match was going to be him and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
But said he's going to find someone.
And he basically said he's found someone that he trusts more than anybody, and is also one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, which is what made it interesting. So it's not just going to be anybody, and it looks like they're going to be a new member of the Blackpool Combat Club.
I have no idea on who this could be, actually.
I think it's the fact that he said it's someone he knows very well and trusts makes me think it's Cesaro, because they teamed together towards the end of their WWE time. I know they're friends in real life. I know and Cesaro would definitely fit the mold of a great technical wrestler, and he's free and available. So that makes it interesting. I've seen some other suggested options. Jonathan Gresham, I've seen mentioned. Obviously, he's sort of in that mold as well.
I don't really know him.
And Johnny Gargano. Every time a free space comes up in AEW Plus, he is a great wrestler. So, but I don't think he fits the Blackpool Combat Club at all, personally.
No, I think Cesaro could be interesting. Yeah.
The one thing that was very interesting about Johnny was so it's in Chicago, the pay-per-view, isn't it, on Sunday night. He tweeted earlier he's doing some activity in Chicago on Sunday, and he had to tweet basically going, by the way, guys, this is a complete coincidence, because everyone was like, oh my god, it's you, Ben. So it's either it is him or it's a pure coincidence. And he's
but didn't they do a tease before, like the Joker's tease before the last AEW show?
I don't think he would advertise what he's doing in Chicago if he was the surprise at the pay-per-view. So I think it's Cesaro, even though Cesaro, the last news I heard about Cesaro is that he's actually more likely to come back to WWE than he was to go to AEW. But I think that may have changed.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get into the Blackpool Combat Club, that's quite a big spot, isn't it, on the AEW card? That's a bigger spot to get on WWE. So
I think it's definitely an ex sort of WWE guy based on the promo that Brian said.
I mean, I'll raise again, but do they need to bring in another new guy? Is that what they need? Yeah.
No, but Cesaro's a good addition to any roster, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you can justify all of them one by one, but it's just.
Yeah, and I know what you mean.
There's a lot.
I do think, though, after Forbidden Door, it will seem a lot more normal because you will have just the AEW roster. At the moment, there's so many New Japan stars coming in as well. That and you've got they're trying to build blood and guts at the same time. It is a little bit all over the place. I think once you've got these two shows out of the way, it will calm down a little bit. I think.
It is just madness. I mean, it's very hard to keep a track of, and I watch it every week, and I'm struggling to keep track of what's going on because it is just absolute carnage. But yeah, I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, I think I said this to you before off pod because I've obviously spoken about AEW for a while, but I just don't think Forbidden Doors for me. Like, it's for the fans that love New Japan and all these like indie darlings that know all this stuff and don't watch WWE and have this kind of extra knowledge I just don't have. So, like, obviously we'll get on to other New Japan stars that appeared on the show and have been booked and announced, but for me, I just don't know them. So I've heard Zack Sabre Jr.'s name. I'm sure it's probably a bigger deal than
he is a great technical wrestler. They're not underselling like the if it was him and Brian, it would be like, oh my god, who's the best guy? Because he is in that mold. He's another English guy as well. So that's kind of cool for us.
The point is, you've explained him better than AEW had on their show. Like,
him in particular, I don't want to give away my spoiler for my predictions, but he did not feel like a big deal. He didn't even say anything when he literally came out and they cut. People at Ospreay have been on TV now quite a few times.
He is basically the one that I think they've built up relatively well, Ospreay.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I just don't think
I would say maybe Tanahashi as well. But other than that, there's not really anybody else.
Maybe, but other than, I mean, this is kind of a point with all of the New Japan stars, but other than being good wrestlers,
there isn't much story to
why should I care about them being in matches of these? Like,
I don't think the bill's
struggling to work
particularly good. But then the thing is with these type of
it
super
is a hard
shows,
pay-per-view to build.
It's not. They're never going to be built well, in my opinion.
But this, I mean, the whole point comes back to AEW trying to do too much. If you'd have had, because I mean, I think the match card's like 10 or something.
There's a lot of matches. Yeah.
If you'd have just had 5 matches and really focused on 5, like really sold us on Tanahashi for a couple of weeks, on Ospreay for a couple of weeks, on Zack Sabre Jr., whoever the top stars are, Okada, whoever you want to bring over and push as the guys, build up some matches, but they've just tried to throw 20 New Japan guys at us and expecting, like, to me, honestly, I can barely remember who's fighting who because it's just.
There was a lot of it, particularly added into the tag team ones and stuff that are barely
there's multi-man matches. There's 2 fatal 4-ways we've got at the pay-per-view. It's just a lot of people to try and remember who the names of them. Let alone, it's difficult. And so that's just a side note on it. But the point that despite all of that is, I have no doubt every match is going to be really good because from what I know from New Japan is the wrestling is
the in-ring quality,
extremely high level of wrestling. But like professional wrestling is more than just wrestling. You need to build stories and get people invested. I think that's the one thing they've struggled to do. I think there's a point in the show. It definitely has
with the AEW fan base of if you're watching and you're not a New Japan fan. Then.
Well, and this is the thing. I wonder how many of the AEW fan base are in my shoes. I reckon I'm probably in the minority. I think,
massively, because you can hear the reactions when the stars come out.
And that's the thing. I think they are appealing to their fan base, but like.
It's not going to get new fans.
When they announced Forbidden Door, New Japan VW, I reckon all the people that loved it when they announced it. They didn't need to hear who was going to be there. They just thought, this is going to be great. And they had those people on side, but they haven't done a lot to get people all interested.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
New Japan guys.
I know what you mean.
But I think it's going to be a great show, though.
The next thing we had was we had Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice in a 6-man tag match against Aussie Open and Will Ospreay. I thought this match was really good, actually. Aussie Open, they've had a couple of matches now, but this was the one where they impressed me the most. There was a pile driver spot on Trent that was nuts in this match. And it really picked up a gear as well when Orange tagged in, because he's been out for quite a while and this is his first match. the crowd went mad when he hot tagged in, and he did his little kicks, but then he was flying around the ring, and he was great here.
He is great, Orange Cassidy. I think it'll be a good match, by the way. Ospreay
him and Ospreay will be good. We saw little snippets of it here because they did wrestle each other in this match a little bit. But yeah, this was a good 6-man tag, and I think Ospreay, like you said, has probably been the one where they built in the most.
To me, he's a standout of the New Japan guys I've seen.
Yeah, I think they've put him on TV. He's had like 3 matches. Like, that in itself tells you that like they've actually put some effort into building this match a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it more interesting. And he is a great wrestler anyway. And he's got a character to him. So I think that's going to be really good. But yeah, it's fun 6-man tag as the first match on the show.
I mean, and then we had at the end again. I've got the website up, so I know the names, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you their names were Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan. I know we've seen Jeff Cobb before, but I don't know who Great O'Khan is. I've heard his name mentioned.
He's appeared once, but it was at the pay-per-view when they attacked. Whenever it was. FTR and
then FTR came down, so we're getting a triple threat tag team with Roppongi Vice, FTR, and
Cobb and
what's their tag team?
They're part of that's it.
No, they're friends with them. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all part of the big. One thing about New Japan is you think AEW has factions. New Japan has factions, like faction after faction, and they're huge. They're not like 3-4 people. There'll be factions that'll be like 20 people in it.
Yeah, well, the Bullet Club has like stupid amounts, doesn't
That's what I mean. So like that's what I mean. They're all part of the same faction.
So we've got that 6-man tag. So they actually built up 2 matches.
Any match with FTR
show.
It's going to be a banger. So
I mean, God, can't wait to watch them.
Then, talking of can't wait, the next segment on the show. If we were doing top marks,
we actually just slightly stepped over a Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh segment backstage.
I haven't even noted that down.
Where what's his name? Jay Lethal saying that either Samoa Joe needs to come back or vacate his title because I think he's out injured currently. Samoa Joe.
He's out injured again, then
I think he is.
I love Samoa Joe. Don't get me wrong, but he's always injured, and it's a problem.
I think he is. I mean, unless
he's amazing when
unless he can wrestle regularly, he probably needs to just be a GM or a commentator or just a manager. Or he's great at all those roles. But but I mean, the fact they cut this promo must mean he's not properly injured because they're gonna.
I haven't actually heard anything about it, but hopefully he's fine.
But now wax lyrical about this next. segment.
So this next segment was, this was the thing I was looking forward to the most because the end of last week's Dynamite was the great angle with Christian turning on Jungle Boy.
And by the way, this has been like a year in the making. This turn, by the way, it's
felt like
this is what I mean by them dragging things out. Like the payoff is really good when they build it, and they have built this one really well. I think Christian Cage and Jungle
just because
Boy.
It's been subtle. It's not been too in your face. It's been like, have you spotted this little look he's given or this little hug?
This is really good storytelling.
And the promo. I mean, it was just unbelievably savage. MJF's cut some savage promos in AEW in his time, but this felt like, all right, MJF, you're not available. Right, this is how you cut a savage promo. We don't need you, mate. That's what it felt like. This was
you mentioned MJF. He also has some subtle digs at MJF. I think
he did,
where he was saying that
there's guys that mentioned not being paid enough.
Yeah, not being paid enough, but they forget your matches in a week. They have a pay-per-view named after match.
I loved it. People have got to remember. There's guys back there that want to be remembered. I've got pay-per-view named after matches I've been in and stuff like that. And I just thought that was great.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I loved it as well when he was having to go to the fans and he said that you're all online saying this, you're not doing your job very well. He's like, do I come to the drive-through window and say that to you? And I just thought that's proper savage line. And then he talked about Jungle Boy's mum fancying him.
I didn't mind that. Then he just went into his dead father.
And then
it got a bit dark.
And then he was like, she wants me to be Jungle Boy's dad. He was like, but you already have a dad, and he's dead. And it's probably a good thing because he'd be ashamed of you. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I know, really. I mean, AW do. It's usually MJF does this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but because I know we did it with the Varsity Blondes guy. Can't remember his name. Brian Pillman Jr. Yeah. So we've heard this before, but it was I was well surprised it was he got that savage Christian
It was
Cage.
amazing.
Although he's a really good heel. I remember
he's a better heel than
his
face.
title run when he was, one more time, and he was a proper heel doing one more match when he lost his belt, and brilliant heel when he
him
was
and Edge are both.
SmackDown.
I know it's hard not to compare him to Edge.
It is
because of their team. They're both amazing heels, heels. And Edge, I think Edge is a better babyface than Christian, but heels they're both amazing. And I think that's that's where they're really similar. I think we've seen heel Edge a bit, and we're seeing heel Christian, and heel Christian excites me massively because I think now he can be. For me at the moment, he's the most interesting thing in AEW.
Yeah, and
he wasn't nowhere near that before.
Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, I think will be a great match as well because Christian Cage is really good in ring as well. Yeah. That's the one thing that gets. Well, maybe it isn't. It doesn't get forgotten, but I think he's brilliant. I mean, then we got a confusing turn at the end where Luchasaurus came down. And I thought, here we go, Luchasaurus is going to destroy him, and then they kind of whispered in his ear, walked off in
like. He was like, "Look, we need to talk in private." And he said, "Remember what happened to Marco's stunt as well?" Mentioning this whole thing was amazing, and then it made me think: are we going to get Luchasaurus side with Christian?
Yeah,
which really I wouldn't have seen coming, but that would be a great twist to it, in my opinion. I think that would really be good. So I think this is great stuff.
Yeah, brilliant.
This is I think the thing is, right, this is an AEW built feud with an AEW up and coming star and an AEW wrestling legend that you've built over time, and it's paying off. Yeah, that's what I want to see more of. We had Wardlow with a great story with MJF again. The problem is, like you say, at the moment they're not building enough AEW storylines. They're doing bits and pieces all over the place, which is fine in small doses. Yeah, but they're
trying to be too anti WWE. They're trying to. WWE has samey matches all the time. They're trying to constantly have fresh matches to the point of bringing people in every single week to make every match fresh, and it's just. And
this, for me, this is more. I'm more.
Their roster's big enough to start recycling people and put them in different feuds, but it feels like you have a feud, then you go off TV for like 6 months, then you maybe have another feud. Unless you're one of the top 5 or 6 people, you're basically going to be recycled. But this is exactly what I want to see in my
this was great
wrestling show.
What was next? Was it Penta v?
No, we had another backstage promo from the Young Bucks this time.
Yeah, so I already kind of mentioned. We already kind of mentioned this.
Yeah, so there'll be Forbidden Door. Be back at Bullet Club for one night only. Now, even AEW website doesn't have who they're going to be against. Well, so I don't know who they're against.
I know it's obviously Bullet Club. It's Hikuleo, isn't it? Because he wrestled on Dynamite.
Yeah, so we've seen it a few times.
Someone else, and I can't remember who's with Darby Allin and Sting. So I mean, they've not really shown these people on TV, and that's the problem with that.
Yeah, maybe they might mention it later on because I think there's a Darby and Sting promo. They might mention it there.
Yeah, maybe I can't remember.
I mean, the Young Bucks kind of had to be at Forbidden Door, didn't they?
Yeah, they have to be.
They have to be. Yeah. So that's.
Then we got. That's when we got the Penta versus Malachi Black match, which was, as you'd expect, really good in ring. And then it's actually Penta was kind of dominating this match. He did an avalanche fear factor and a rolling cutter and all sorts. And he also did a there was one point where Penta took ages to cover. And if he'd have quickly covered, he probably would have won. Like, he was dominating the match, but then out of nowhere, he hits the spinning kick and wins, which was the right decision, really. Especially as Pac was already in the match, it was kind of obvious that you weren't going to get Penta versus Pac. It was going to be Black, and they've been feuding anyway.
I think the winner was obvious here because of who was already in the match.
Yeah, and it's the right decision for me anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I've already moaned about the amount of people on the show, but this Fatal 4-Way match is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Pac, Miro, Black, and again, I don't know Ishii too much. I think we've seen him before, haven't we?
He's been in AEW before, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him standing up. Maybe he did. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I like the fact that we got 3 AEW sort of staples in this match. Also, three former WWE guys. It's an interesting one. This one, I think this is going to be a great match. I think there's another 4-way as well, which is going to be even better, probably. But
they're probably the match I look forward to the most is Fatal 4-Way.
But this Fatal 4-Way, I think, is interesting because it's for a new title. So I think it's more unpredictable who's going to win this match than probably any other match on the card. I think it's hard to predict who's going to win it.
It is, yeah. And then the next match, probably one you mentioned, you were kind of alluding to earlier, yeah.
And this is no, maybe it's not me not knowing who Silas Young is, because honestly I've never heard of him. And I know most guys come in and I've heard of the New Japan guys. There's not any of these people who've come in. I don't know who they are because I know they're big stars. I don't know who Silas Young is. I honestly have no idea.
So they said he's from Ring of Honor, not from New Japan.
So he's a Ring of Honor guy. Who was just brought in because he has history of Hangman Page, basically. But my criticism of the match purely really was that, you're building Hangman for this main title match. You're building a guy who's never going to be on AEW TV probably ever again.
Yeah.
Is there any point in doing a long match? However, I will say the guy looked bloody awesome when he was doing that move off the top rope that he did. He looked good.
I mean,
I had no interest in it because I wasn't invested at all.
No, that's the problem. This comes back to that point of because there's AEW roster is so sacked. There's someone they could have put from AEW roster in this match with Hangman.
Yeah.
And would have been a bigger benefit to AEW than this. Like Matt Seidel, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something like,
Because all it was really there to do was to set up Jay White coming out afterwards and then a big reveal of Okada. So you could have put anyone in this match and it didn't need to go 10 minutes. You could have done this match and had it 1 minute and I would have been happy with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, it didn't need to be what it was. Even though I did think Silas Young looked good. I wasn't invested because there's no way Hangman Page is losing, is there? Let's be honest.
You know what? I thought it was the Butcher at first when he came out.
He did look a lot like him, didn't he?
I was like, Butcher got new music or something.
I saw it. I think it was someone like Eva Wuno tweeted like, I want to see Silas Young versus the Butcher to see if they're the same person, because he did look, and he does look like.
They should have an Ezekiel Elias thing. Yeah. Silas Young and the Butcher.
Yeah, he does look quite like him.
I thought it was a Butcher until his name popped up on the screen.
Really the thing to talk about again, like I said, is after the match. So Cole gets on the mic, but then Jay White comes out straight away, basically, and says he hasn't given either man a title shot. Blah blah blah.
Another one. I really like Jay White, by the way. But
Jay White is awesome.
We have seen him before. Quite a while, but yeah, I think he could be a really big star in AW if they. I don't know. He's probably not going to come over, but yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he does he and Hangman brawl. Cole does a low blow on Page. What I loved here is Cole teasing hitting Jay White with the belt and then kind of going, "Oh, I was never going to do that. I was planning on hitting." That bit was good. So you're setting up something down the line with them, and I think we're going to get that in the match. They're going to come to blows.
Yeah, we're gonna.
And then obviously you got the reveal of Okada, which there was rumors he wasn't going to be on the card. Okada, which is why I'm guessing it was made a fatal four-way for that reason. But he did appear, and the crowd went nuts. He is the one where you're like, okay, he's probably the biggest star in New Japan. So
yeah. So I kind of knew again. I know most of these guys' names. I just don't know them, and so I heard Okada's name. I've kind of knew he was one of the bigger guys in New Japan, and I think he definitely come across as a really big star here. Obviously the crowd reaction helped, but I just think the way and I think also his music, kind of like the coin dropping, whatever at the start of his music.
The coin dropping.
So cool. That's a really cool way to it's almost like the glass shatter, isn't it, from Stone Cold? Yeah. It's like that before the music starts, the coin drops. It's like, oh, and again, I wish I knew him more. That would have probably.
I've only ever seen one of his matches, two maybe.
So
again, they're Wrestle Kingdoms that I've randomly watched a couple of years ago, and he is the guy that him and Omega. So him and Omega had a series of 5 matches in New Japan. That was what broke the star system. So the 5-star system that the Wrestling Observer rates matches. Dave Meltzer and that he rated their matches 6 stars, 6.5 stars because they were too good to be 5-star. That's what we're talking about here. So Okada's that guy. Arguably, obviously, Kenny Omega plays a massive part in that because Kenny Omega is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Okada, that's what Okada's famous for, essentially, is for breaking the star system. And he has that star presence about him. Tanahashi also has it, where they have this sort of big personality as well. So him coming in was a shock and cool. And a 4-way with him, bear in mind his, I've just mentioned, Adam Cole, Hangman Page were incredible wrestlers in their own right. And then Jay White as well.
Yeah.
That is a proper main event, that fatal 4-way. So
yeah, that is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most, actually, because I have the intrigue of a card as well. Like I won't say I love Jay White, but I really do like Jay White. I love the other two, and then you add this, like to me anyway, like an unknown quantity, like quality. But I also am so confident he'll be incredible. Like it's just just so excited to see that match. I think it'll be so good.
That is going to be amazing. I just can't see it not being. So that was to set up obviously the main. Well, I don't think it's the main event. Probably, I think the AEW title match probably main event. The show, but there's a couple of options at least now where you feel like they're huge matches. What won't be the main event, I'm pretty sure, and no offense to these two women, is Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa, because he's not really had much of a build, but we've got Shafir versus Storm here. And one thing I didn't realise was that Nyla Rose was associated with Marina Shafir.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Yeah, I was like, where's Nyla Rose coming out?
Okay, where's this come from?
Probably something happened on Dark that we just don't know.
So it's obviously happened in between shows, and I was kind of surprised. And she was attacking Toni on the outside, did a senton. And I was like, okay, so this is cool. I don't know why it's happening, but it's cool. The match was at kind of average. Marina Shafir matches are very slow, aren't they?
Yeah, Marina Shafir's all right. I actually really like her music, and I quite like her demeanor.
Yeah,
it's just all right, isn't it? It's nothing special.
No,
Marina Shafir matches, but yeah, I mean, I think Toni Storm Thunder will be a good match.
It's not had a great build, and to be honest, I think the concentration on the women's, like I've said before, New Japan doesn't have a women's division. So
I think we're surprised to see a women's match on this card.
Yeah, they're putting it on there purely because they want to do a women's match on the show, an AEW women's title match.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't bring in someone from maybe another Japanese promotion like Stardom. Stardom's the big sort of Japanese women's promotion. So you could have brought in like Kairi Sane or someone who works for them. So like you could have done that, tried to do something like that. That would have been incredible. But obviously Toni Storm deserves her title shot, and I'm kind of in a way it's kind of good that they're doing an AEW built feud. I just don't think they built it that much.
No, they haven't. This is even Forbidden Door issue. This is just Thunder Rosa's title reign issue. They've just never built her matches. They're always in the middle of the show on like a 2-minute promo or something. It's never proper build. We did skip over a backstage segment with the Jade Cargill and Kira Hogan and that, and they said they're looking for a new baddie.
Oh yeah.
And then you had Athena and Chris Statlander laughing at it, and that was kind of it, really.
I'm not really that fussed on this feud at the moment.
So here we go. This is when Darby and Sting said they'd be teaming up with Shingo Takagi and Hiromu Takahashi to take on the Young Bucks, Hikuleo, and El Phantasmo.
So Shingo Takagi, I know of being like, again, a really good wrestler, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen him. Takahashi, his name so similar to Tanahashi.
Yeah, I got confused there.
Confuses me. So yeah, I don't think I've seen him wrestle.
And do you know El Phantasmo?
No. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and even Hikuleo hasn't really stood out to me so far.
I thought last time he was on AEW, he looked cool purely because he was like, there was a lot of small guys in the match, and he was like the big guy, and I thought he really stood out in that match because he was good. But that's all I've really seen of him. And I know he's Haku's son, and Haku's like a madman.
Yeah, but they're going to be in Bullet Club shirts, aren't they? Young Bucks. That's going to be a cool thing, I guess, to see.
And then I think it was just the main event, wasn't it? Am I missing anything?
Yeah, that is it. The main.
So the main event was John Moxley and Tanahashi, who are obviously facing at the pay-per-view, teaming up against Chris Jericho and Lance Archer. Nice to see Lance Archer. Doesn't do a lot, does he?
Yeah, randomly with Chris Jericho.
This match was decent enough. Obviously, the faces get the win. Archer took the pin, obviously. Mox hits the paradigm shift. Tanahashi hit the splash. And then you got the big brawl afterwards because they're kind of setting up. This is where I mentioned earlier, where they're kind of setting up two shows at once.
This might be the messiest of all of the builds they're doing because it's just everyone everywhere. And I don't really get why Jericho's teaming with Suzuki's group. Seems a bit random.
Yeah, because they're trying to set up Blood and Guts, but they've also got to set up this. And AEW doesn't what AEW does normally really well is separate their pay-per-views. So you normally get a pay-per-view one, then you get another 3 months. So there's only been a month since the last pay-per-view. And then they've got a pay-per-view here, plus a big show, Blood and Guts, on the Wednesday. So it's kind of muddled. And you see this quite often with WWE when they're doing like a Saudi Arabia show and then they're doing a pay-per-view. And they're trying to build both at once. And AEW have kind of done this. And they've tied themselves in knots a little bit here.
They have. But I wonder if it's actually hindered their main event. This is going to close the show, this Tanahashi Moxley match, but it's probably not going to build it. Probably could have got
I think
because it's been built into
again,
other
a lot of these matches. They're relying on
just the name power,
the name value. You're going, well, here's Tanahashi, here's Moxley. Like, what more do you want? That's what this whole show is really based on, because they know a lot of AEW fans and New Japan fans are going to buy the show, so it's going to be effective across essentially two continents or whatever. So I think that's what they're relying on here, and that's fine. But as an AEW viewer, sometimes, like I say, the Christian thing for me is a lot more interesting, because
that's best thing on the show.
Been built up by a lot more. But yeah, I thought this was a decent episode of Dynamite.
It was
some really good wrestling on it.
Hard to keep up with, I have to admit. I did struggle. I had to like pause stuff, be like, okay, so this guy's with him. Like, I mean, as
usual, there was a little bit all over the place.
I don't even start to question why people are with people, because I'm past that now. Don't even question why people it just happens. Like, again, I don't even question Nyla Rose and Rhea Shafir. That just happens. People just appear with people sometimes.
That must have happened on that, but again, it's one of those things where you kind of expected to watch all AEW shows plus New Japan plus Ring of Honor.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like to catch up and be really interested, I have to watch all of those things. Plus, I have to watch the Road to and the the vlogs they do, being the Elite, Sammy Guevara's vlog. I have to watch all these things to keep up with what's going on. It's just
and be on Twitter as well.
Yeah, and be on Twitter every minute of today.
Yeah, it's quite hard.
It is a lot. But I mean, without getting into predictions too much, do you think there's a chance that someone could win a AEW title, which is from New Japan? Because I think or
the other way around, maybe.
The other way around, I think, because AEW's people always walk around with other belts. Like FTR have belts from who knows where, and
that's true.
So that happens. But I'm more interested in, can Tanahashi be AEW champion, or could Ishii win that other title? Like, there's a couple
it's possible, obviously.
I think that would make a statement, by the way. I think that would be, if Tanahashi won the title, that is like, you'll remember this pay-per-view going forward. I think we all expect Moxley to win. That's kind of
I mean,
at least to me as AEW
I'll let you know. One of my predictions is that Moxley's surely going to win.
I can't imagine Moxley not winning, but I think if you want to make a statement, have Tanahashi win that belt. That would be a real, like, wow, Tanahashi's AEW champion. That would be quite a cool thing to do.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I've got to think about my Preds and what I think, but it'll be interesting to see if there is any sort of cross-promotional title changes.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, Adam Cole won that. Whatever title Jay White has, he'll might win that or something. Or
it's entirely possible, because he could easily just drop it at a New Japan show. In like a couple of months' time or something.
Yeah, I just wondered on whether you thought it could happen the other way around. So again, I'd been quite interested to see more AEW titles on the line, like a TNT title match with someone from New Japan, or a tag team title match with someone from New Japan. I mean, also they can't do the women's title, but I to me that would be a way to really make this show stand out. I think. So I think I'm without knowing him too much, I think I'm an advocate for Tanahashi to win the belt. I think that's what I'm saying. I think that's what I think I want to happen.
Fair enough.
As much as I know.
I don't really mind, to be honest. It's one of those shows I'm not that particularly invested, but like the wrestling's going to be great, so I'll just enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I've kind of had to be for a few weeks now. It's not been easy watching AEW, because I've just been confused for like 3 or 4 weeks now with what's going on. But I just enjoy the wrestling and don't worry too much about storylines. I just think I'm just going to enjoy it for wrestling, and I'm not going to worry about why.
I think it's going to have a bit of a reset after this anyway, after Blood and Guts. I think we'll see it change over again.
I really think Tony Khan needs to just, I said it before, just needs to calm down for a bit. Got a bit mad. I mean,
he does.
He's bringing in another new guy on this show as well. But
at least one. Yeah, could be. Well, surprises.
One announced. Yeah, sorry, one announced. Who knows what else is going to happen? Who knows?
I think we've pretty much covered everything anyway, haven't we?
Yeah.
So let's call it there. So I think we'll out of batteries now after two back-to-back pods.
Yeah, it's been
so obviously listen to the WWE one if you haven't listened to it already. Follow us on Twitter at RechargeWrestle. We will be back potentially with a review for Pidden or of some sort. I don't know if it'll be a full pod or whether it'll just be one of us reviewing it, whatever. We'll be back for that. We'll be back we're doing predictions for Money in the Bank coming up as well.
And
then
Door.
obviously our normal, yeah. So keep an eye on our Twitter for those. And we'll see you next week.
Cool. See you guys.
Goodbye.